You want to be a good parent and do right by your kids, but for the last decade you've been sold a lie: gentle parenting.
Thank you for expressing your emotions by throwing that paper in my face.
We don't say be careful anymore. Instead say, what's your plan here?
Stop hit your sister. Don't say stop, say gentle. Gentle what? Gentle hands.
Kids addicted to screens, teens with crippling anxiety, young adults with no plans to leave home.
My kids beat me up. They beat me up.
But if your TV's loud, that means my laptop can be loud.
Shut up!
Who are you talking to?
You.
Can you use your inside voice?
No!
We don't need to yell. Hey, no, hands are not for hitting.
The advice didn't work, so now you're being sold the opposite.
I have had a lot of parents inbox me and ask me what should they do if their toddler just continues to hit them. And I'm telling you right now, all you need to do is hit them the back. It is not rocket science.
As a parent, this leaves you stuck in the middle, exhausted, confused, maybe even feeling powerless. So who's right? Should you be gentle or firm? Validate feelings or enforce boundaries? Today, I'll reveal what parenting science shows actually works to help your kids build the skills they actually need to succeed. Let's cut right to the chase. Both sides are actually getting it wrong. And to understand why, I need to take you back to where it all started. So back in the 1960s, a developmental psychologist named Diana Baumrind had a question. She was curious, what makes some parents more successful than others? To answer this, she studied thousands of parents, and what she discovered surprised everyone. The best outcomes didn't come from the strictest parents, and they didn't come from the most permissive ones either. They came from parents who did something most people thought was contradictory. They were warm and firm at the same time. They had empathy and boundaries. They connected with their kids emotionally while also maintaining consistent limits. She called this authoritative parenting. And over the next 50 years, study after study confirmed her findings. Kids raised this way had better emotional regulation, higher self-esteem, stronger academic performance, and better social skills. Now, although the research was clear, most parents, unfortunately, they never got the memo. So throughout the 80s and 90s, many families still operated the old-fashioned way with strict rules, harsh punishments, and little emotional warmth. Fast forward to the 2010s and the term gentle parenting started to show up, as parents, especially millennials, wanted an alternative to the strict parenting they'd experienced growing up. The idea of gentle parenting was appealing. Be warm, be connected, and respect your kids. And when done correctly, it was essentially authoritative parenting with a new name, warmth and boundaries together. But nobody could see what was coming next.
Every part of the United Kingdom is now in lockdown, with people being urged to stay at home as the scale of the public health emergency becomes even more daunting.
2020 hit and the COVID lockdowns. With families stuck at home 24/7, parents became desperate for help and turned to social media for answers. And this is where three factors collided. First, you had millions of millennial parents who were already interested in being different from their own parents. Second, you had unprecedented challenges around screen time that most parents didn't know how to handle. And third, you had social media algorithms that reward simple shareable content over complex, nuanced advice. So as a trend, gentle parenting exploded with the hashtag racking up billions of views on TikTok and Instagram. And thousands of influencers started posting videos with their own scripts and their own strategies for you to take advantage of. But here lies the problem. There was no quality control, no systematic training, just well-intentioned parents watching 60-second clips and trying to copy what they were told. The warmth part was easy to show in a short video. Validate feelings, be empathetic, connect with your kids. But the boundaries part often got lost because setting consistent limits doesn't make for viral content. So what parents ended up implementing wasn't authoritative parenting at all. It was something else from Baumrind's research called permissive parenting. It was all warmth with no structure. And this is where everything started to go wrong. And the consequences of this mistake have become way bigger than most people realize. I know because I see these consequences from the front lines every single day. So my name is Adair, and for the past decade, I've been helping thousands of families whose teens or young adults are struggling with gaming addiction through my company, Game Quitters. And when I say struggling, I mean really struggling. 22-year-olds living at home with no education, no job, and no motivation. and even 30-year-olds who are still living with their parents with no desire to move out. So about 3 years ago, I started noticing a pattern with the parents coming to me for help. They'd tell me they'd tried everything. They tried being patient. They tried being understanding. They tried therapist after therapist, but nothing worked. Their children were still addicted to screens. Now, when I asked them about their experience setting limits, they fell into two groups. First were parents who wouldn't even try setting boundaries in the first place. They'd tell me things like, I don't want them to be mad at me, or I don't want to be too controlling. These parents were so concerned with being liked by their kids, they avoided having any boundaries at all. Second were parents who set boundaries, but the moment they received any pushback, they'd cave. They'd say things like, okay, fine, just one more hour. Or I know all your friends are playing right now and I don't want you to feel left out. So although they intended to have limits, when it came time to enforce them, they'd often get manipulated, worn down, or end up negotiating until the boundary essentially meant nothing. So either way, the result was the same. No structure, no consequences, just endless negotiations and gamers who learn that persistence always wins, even if it wasn't in the best interest of their overall health and well-being. So that's actually when it clicked for me. Although they had the best intentions, they weren't doing what's proven to work through decades of research. They had the warmth, they had the empathy, they had the connection, but the boundaries part was missing. Their gentle parenting had turned into permissive parenting, and their kids were paying the price. Now, to be honest, this could just be what I'm seeing in my work, except the data shows this pattern is everywhere. Kids are now spending 6 hours a day on screens. That's up 27% since 2019, and it's not going back down. 85% of teens are gaming regularly. By senior year of high school, only 63% of teens have their driver's license. Now, as recently as 2005, that number was 82%. These teens aren't motivated to drive because everything they have is already on a screen at home. Then you have 18% of young adults between 25 and 34 who are still living at home. That's a 50% increase since the year 2000. And the mental health numbers themselves are honestly alarming. 32% of teens have anxiety disorders. 18% have depression. And among young adults, 27% report chronic loneliness. Meanwhile, 35% of parents now report high stress levels compared to just 20% of non-parents. That's the largest gap ever recorded. So this isn't just a few families who are being impacted. This is an entire generation that's struggling. It's a generation of young people who can't put down their screens, and a generation of parents who are exhausted, confused, and honestly just struggle to set boundaries. So this begs the question, why is this so hard? Now, stay with me because the answer is actually simpler than you think. So what happens when you negotiate endlessly? When you constantly offer alternative after alternative, or when you give in after 20 minutes because you're exhausted, is you think you might be being gentle, but what's actually happening is that you're teaching them that persistence works, that boundaries are flexible, that if they just push your buttons long enough, you'll break. And this isn't just a theory. It's basic behavioral psychology. Psychologists call it operant conditioning. And operant conditioning isn't just something that you choose to use. It's simply how learning works. Your kids' brains are being shaped by reward and consequence every day. So the real question is, are you shaping behavior intentionally, or are you accidentally rewarding the exact behaviors that you don't want them to learn? And here's what makes this so important to understand. While you're trying to figure that out, something else in your home is training your kids deliberately, and it's winning big time. Over the past 15 years, we've added a third parent to the house, and it's teaching your kids that instant gratification is always available. And I mean deliberately. The most powerful tool in its arsenal is something called variable ratio reward. This is when you do the same action over and over, but you only get the reward sometimes, and you never know when it's coming. Psychologists in the 1950s and 60s discovered that this is the most effective type of reward. With variable ratio rewards, they could condition a rat or a pigeon to press a button literally thousands of times expecting something good to happen. Pulling a slot machine handle works the same way. Usually nothing happens, but sometimes you get a lot of coins. This dynamic keeps people glued to the game, even to the point of financial ruin in some cases. Now, video games, social media apps, and streaming platforms are all built on variable ratio reward. In Fortnite, every match is filled with unpredictable loot. One chest might give you a powerful weapon, the next 5 might give you nothing useful. On Roblox, one random chest might give you a rare pet, while the next 10 are worthless. On YouTube Kids, the jackpot comes as a sudden song, a silly face zoom, or a surprise character after a stretch of filler. But variable ratio rewards are just the tip of the iceberg. Entire teams of PhD engineers, behavioral scientists, And AI specialists have spent the past 2 decades tweaking every aspect of your child's digital experience to capture their attention. A child used to reach the end of a cartoon and that was it. Time for bed. Now the feed reloads itself forever, and autoplay ensures there's never a stopping point. Feeds run by algorithms track every scroll, every swipe, even every hesitation in real time, and then feed that information back into their machine learning systems. Let's be honest, not even adults can beat this kind of system, let alone kids. And here's how this often plays out at home. Your kid has finished their screen time limit for the day, but they want more. You say you understand they want more screen time and you can see that they're really frustrated. But how about you do something together instead? And they say, no, just give me my tablet. So you try again. What if we read a book? Or you could go play with your Legos. No, I want my tablet. This goes on and on for 5, 10, 15 minutes. Eventually, you're tired and say, fine, 20 more minutes. But that's it. Meanwhile, on the tablet, a completely different lesson is being taught. Press this button, instant reward. Press it again, instant reward. Oh, this time nothing. Try again, instant reward. The tablet is delivering hundreds of micro rewards every day, with each one carefully timed by algorithms designed to maximize engagement. So on one hand, you have parents operating on the belief that rewards and consequences are harmful. Meanwhile, Silicon Valley is rolling out slot machine mechanics literally designed using operant conditioning principles, optimized by AI, and refined through billions of data points on what keeps kids engaged the longest. Your child's screen isn't rejecting operant conditioning, it's using it to its maximum capability. So here's what that means for your kid's future. Almost every skill that leads to success in their life rests on one core ability: delaying gratification, the capacity to do something difficult now for a reward that comes later. At school, a kid who's never learned to delay gratification sits down in class and feels genuine shock that it's not instantly fun. By college, courses that require long hours of reading or problem solving, they feel unbearable. Cue the college dropout crisis. By adulthood, without an education or ability to focus, these young people are stuck in entry-level jobs, bouncing from one distraction to another, convinced that work should feel like a video game. This is the result of two forces working together: gentle parenting that says no weekly or just not at all, and screens that obliterate the need to wait for anything. Together, these two forces are training a generation to struggle with the exact skills they need to build a successful life. Now, I want to be clear. This isn't about rejecting technology or going back to harsh 1950s parenting. It's about understanding that your kids need both things. They need warmth and structure. They need connection and boundaries. It can't be one or the other. They need both. And this has made all that more important when it comes to the most addictive technology ever created, designed by some of the smartest people in the world to exploit the exact learning mechanisms built into your child's brain. So what ultimately works is authoritative parenting. Now, I know this sounds simple, but I see families succeed with this all the time, even when patterns have been deeply set. I worked with a mom last year named Shri. At the time, her 17-year-old son was gaming immediately after school every day and staying up way too late. He'd gained a lot of weight, had no real friends, and was often lying about his homework. Trudy cared deeply about her son and tried to be understanding. She wanted to preserve the relationship and not be too controlling, but it left a pit in her stomach as she watched her son sink deeper and deeper into gaming. So we started working together on setting realistic boundaries while also maintaining their connection. And here's what she told me after. My son is doing great. I've been able to implement the strategies you've suggested, and he's been willing to make healthy changes. Your advice has really made a difference for us as a family. His confidence has grown. And even recently, the mother of one of his friends told me that her son had also cut back on gaming, and she thinks it's because of the changes that my son made. Now, this isn't a miracle. It's just what happens when you parent from a place of warmth and structure together. Not one or the other, both. So if you're dealing with a loved one who's struggling with gaming or screen time, and you want to learn my proven 3-step system that helps gamers get their life back on track, then watch the video on your screen right now. This system has already helped thousands of families, and I'm certain it can help yours too. You don't have to figure this out alone. The research is clear, the formula works, and I'm here to help you implement it.